Welcome to my first ever cinematography vlog with my iPhone. I have a call time tomorrow at 6 in the morning. I'm filming for Nike and Snipes. We're doing a breakdancing commercial with 2 Olympic breakdancers. Shout out to David Moorfield, shout out to Cranky Cameraman, who obviously have inspired me to start this series with just my phone. They are killing it. I'm staying in Williamsburg. I love this hotel. I stay here all the time when I'm traveling to New York City. Here I have a package from Freewell. They just sent me this. Really excited to check this out and use it on set tomorrow. So I figured I'd open my laptop and show you real quick what a call sheet looks like. Some of you watching may have never heard of a call sheet. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a call time at 6 in the morning. As a cinematographer, I have to be on set by 6 in the morning. So this is generally what a call sheet looks like. You have the client logos, you have the production company name, you have the name of the shoot, you have the general crew call time, locations, and then on the corner you typically have like when is it gonna be lunch, sunrise, nearest hospital, parking, and just any production notes. So for example, here we have 2 locations because if it rains, we won't be able to shoot on the rooftop tomorrow morning. If it doesn't rain, we will be there. But if it does, we're gonna have to go location 2, which is plan B. And then at the bottom, you have all the information from the crew members. I have to blur all that out, obviously. And you get to just see when is talent gonna be there, when is main client gonna be there, when is hair and makeup gonna be there, when are the PAs gonna be there. So you can, as a cinematographer, be informed on how much time you're gonna have to prep, how much time you're gonna need to be able to light everything before talent walks onto set. So general crew call sheet is very important. Like I mentioned, Freewell did send me a new little care package. Shout out to them. They're the second brand to ever send me anything, which I'm really excited about because I love testing out new gear, and it came right in time for my productions tomorrow for the Nike and Snipe shoot, and then also for my 2 productions in Miami that I fly right after my production tomorrow. So let's open it up. And by the way, the first brand that ever sent me anything was Small Rig with this V-mount battery. So I've been pretty lucky in 1 month to get both my first brand partners to send me something. Here we have the goodies. The first thing they sent me was their new hybrid V&D circular polarizer, 3-7 stops, 82 millimeters. And then also along with that, they gave me their new diffusion snow mist 1/4. And these are magnetic. So this is really nice because tomorrow I don't have a full crew. I don't have a first AC. So this is gonna be something I'm gonna love to test out, which is anything that can save me time on set, switching filters, adding any diffusion, adding any mist. It's gonna be really nice just to save time and be efficient, especially because I'm filming with my FX3, which doesn't have internal variable NDs like my FX6 does. So here's that view from my balcony in my hotel. Gotta love that New York City skyline. Well, it's almost 10 o'clock at night. I'm gonna grab some dinner because, like I said, I do have early call time, so I have to go sleep kind of early. But I still have to come back and prep my gear just a little bit, and I'll show you all what I do before a production, so I have to be on set, save time, be ready to shoot the minute I get there. So I'm gonna grab dinner, get back, and I'll show you everything that I do to prep. All right, this is what I went with: some grilled branzino and some grilled seafood. I have a diet soda. Pro tip: if you're waking up early for a call time, just get some protein in at night before, and that way you're not groggy or like slow the next morning when you have an early call time like that. It's almost 11 o'clock at night, so let me show you real quickly how I get prepped the night before a production like this, where I know I won't have a bunch of crew who's gonna be supporting like a first AC or second AC. And I just wanna double check and verify that I have everything I need and there's nothing missing. And if there is, I can let production know first thing in the morning if we need extra batteries, if we need extra lights, if we need extra SD cards, whatever the case may be. I'll know ahead of time tonight by double checking everything. Tomorrow's camera of choice is my Sony FX3. And first thing I'm gonna double check is how many batteries do I have. I have 1 inside the camera body. And then in the zipper right here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more batteries. So I have 5 total NP Sony batteries, which is plenty for a production day. And then also, immediately what I'm gonna double check is that I have enough SD cards. So I have 1 256 V90, and then I double check my other one. I have another 256 V90. I always dual record, and that way I can easily dump footage onto my camera, onto my computer, and then my editor, who's gonna meet me on set, can also dump footage immediately right away. And it's always great to just have redundancy. You don't wanna be on a major production like this and have a SD card fail and you're not dual recording. And then I also double check my SD card case to see how many SD cards I have spare in case for some reason these 2 don't work I have at least another 8 or 10. And it might seem like an exaggeration, it might seem like a lot of backups, but you just don't want to be on production with Nike and Snipe at that and have little things fail. Lenses, I have the Sony 12 to 24 f2.8 G Master, arguably the best and most underrated G Master, for good reason though it is pretty expensive. And then I have the Sony 24-70 Mark II f2.8 as well. Another thing that's very important that's highly underrated is formatting your SD cards. You never want to be that person on set doing playback and you're scrubbing through your SD card and you have footage from other productions or other shoots. It's just not professional, and you obviously don't want to have anything fail in that matter. And then also you want to go to your file settings and just rename the production for the file settings. So this is a pretty general structure on how to name your files. So you go with the camera A or B. This is my camera B. You go with the brand name. You can go with the product, the year, and the series counter, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's gonna end up being 0001. So why is it important to name your files? Real quick game is because when you hand off the footage to your editor or the production company does, and you get the first edit back or the second edit back, and you want to make some replacements to certain takes or certain clips, you have the same file structure as your editor, so you could quickly look at your SSD and go through your dailies and let them know, hey, I want you to replace this edit with this take. And that way you have very clear communication. You can make the process of post-production a lot faster. 6 a.m. call time, one of the benefits, you get to see the early morning sunrise from your balcony in New York City. Always start my day with some electrolytes. You got to stay hydrated, especially on a hot summer day on a rooftop. We got to our rooftop. I started scouting the location with my gaffer to see where we're going to block camera, where we're going to set up our lighting, and immediately just get to work. Here you can see we had a dope skyline in the background. My PA here is putting on that magnetic V&D filter from Freewell they sent me over. I use it throughout the whole shoot, and I sent over my final edit to the colorist, and they had no issues with color casting, so thank you, Freewell. Here you can see the stylist getting the product ready, the Nike Jam sneaker with the lacing and making sure there's no tags on it for the talent. Crafty breakfast was bacon, egg, and cheese. We're in New York City, obviously. And it did start raining, but we didn't have time to go to the second location at this point because we already were starting to set up all our lighting. And we just kind of had to roll with the punches, and hopefully it would stop raining. Here you can see my gaffer. He's setting up two 600D so we could bounce it through Ultra Bounce. And I just have my lens randomly on the rooftop. And here you can see, if you've never been on production with that, it's a photo shoot and a video shoot, you typically want photo to go first because their lighting power that they need is different than video. They're going to need less because they're using flash. And here you can see me using my small rig VB212 V-mount battery to charge me and my PA's phone because we were losing power, grabbing this BTS. And really quickly, I'm here with my gaffer and my key grip, and we just have two bead boards to just wrap the light from this overcast day really nicely and shape it on our talent's face. That way they're not falling into darkness when they're coming out of this staircase for this one shot that we had to plan for. And honestly, the beadboard with overcast day really gives you a nice glow. It creates a really soft highlights on the face, so it's a little bit more pleasing and flattering for the talent. You always want to keep that in mind. It's not just about how much lighting you might have on set. Also, our power went out on this rooftop, so we weren't even able to use the 600Ds that we had to bounce into the Ultra Bounce, which was pretty upsetting. So we kind of just had to roll with the punches. We were running late anyways, so we didn't really have a backup plan. And I just kind of had to go with natural light, shape light, and just do the best that I could to just make it as best as possible for the final edit. And here you see me using my gimbal with that Gimboom arm that just allows me to hold the gimbal in a much more comfortable position for these tracking shots. Highly suggested if you have a monopod, you can screw your gimbal on. Try it out. It just gives you a much firmer hold on the whole setup itself. And I'm doing the same kind of lighting design with two B-boards with my key grip and gaffer on the other talent as well, just so we can replicate and keep the lighting consistent. B-boards are your favorite friend. You can get them at Lowe's for like literally $10. You can just make them yourself. Get the silver on the back side, and yeah. We just went through a couple different takes.
just making sure we had a take for safety, enough takes for the editor to go through and see how they will cut up for the final edit on their end. You always want to keep in mind that you're also planning, if you're not doing the editing yourself, give your editor a couple different takes so they have room to play with and see what works best for the final edit anyways. And here is that gimbal and gimboom setup from Manfrotto. I have my DJI R3 Pro with my Sony 12 to 24 millimeter f2.8. And the reason I did this was because I wanted to try to do an overhead crane shot on a ladder, but it didn't really work out quite exactly how I wanted. So my key grip came up with this idea to place it on a combo stand, mount that gimboom arm, and then just slowly he was gonna operate while I watched the shot itself from the Sony Control Monitor app. And I just kind of gave him the ones and twos on when to pan down and when to tilt back up for the certain shots that I had in mind. So honestly, it worked out really well. It was a shitty rigs contraption, but for on-the-fly thinking without having a big crew to do a whole, crane or jib type of shot because we didn't have the budget, and we were running really, really tight on time because, like I said, I had to go to the airport immediately after this production because my flight was at 4:30 and we were ending around 2 o'clock for just the video shot. So shout out to my key grip Lewis. He killed it. He came up with this on the fly. He took the idea that I had initially and he just elevated it a little bit further. So in the final edit, it worked out really, really well. We just went with a wider lens so my editor could punch in and you wouldn't see the ladder or any of the stands in the shot. So one of the best things I can advise you on is come up with a plan, always have a shot list, always have focal lengths in mind, always know what the talent that you're working with, what the director is asking for, and see how you can get creative with lighting, with camera movement, with dynamic edits in mind. That way your editor has a lot of different edits and takes to play with. And here we're just seeing the talent do their thing, and we're just going up and down with the jib contraption we made. It worked out really well. I'm actually happy I brought the gimboom from Manfrotto to put my RS3 Pro on. Hopefully they can make some that are a little bit longer because I would love to invest in a few more of these arms to just get creative with different shots. So yeah, I think we did a really good job based on the fact that we lost about 2 hours just due to the rain. We lost power on the whole building because one of the fuses got shorted, I believe, because they had too much loading on one circuit. And we didn't have any lighting. Essentially, I couldn't really, light the talent how I wanted to with a 6x Ultra Bounce and bouncing two 600D Pros into it just to fill the ambient and shape the light. And here you just see me do a couple different moves. Really, really had a great shoot. Pressed for time, but I made it to my flight as well. And the talent and the creative director of Snipes, he loved the final edit. We're on color right now, so once I can, I'll show you guys some final videos.
Want to end off the video just again shouting out David Morfield, shouting out Cranky Cameraman. Really inspired by what they've been doing, documenting the process. I travel so much for work. I shoot so much. I figured I want to just be able to start putting more videos on my YouTube channel, showing behind the scenes, showing the process as much as I can. And doing it on my iPhone is just going to make life a lot easier instead of waiting to get behind the scenes footage, having to edit that, and just make it look as great as possible. But if you have any questions about this production in particular, leave in the comment section below. I'll make sure to answer every single comment or question that you might have about how I prepped, how I thought about my decisions on the fly when things were going according to plan because of the weather, when we lost power because the fuse was short-circuited and we didn't have power in the whole building. We couldn't even use continuous lights like we obviously planned to do. Anyways, I'm exhausted. I'm about to go get some Colombian food. Colombia plays on Sunday in the Copa America. If you're a Colombian fan, you already know. Let's take this W for the first time ever.